Welcome to Catholic Cornerstone, a program dedicated to bringing you the people who help shape what Catholicism looks like here in Eastern North Carolina. Today we'll ask the questions of why, or how, they came to North Carolina, but also how they've given their lives in promoting the Catholic faith here in the diocese. I am your host, Melissa Savage, and today we are blessed and honored to have with us Liz Murphy, a parishioner at St. Michael's. She brought her great friend and son with her, Father Alapati. And as my co-host for today, Deacon Brian Phillips, welcome to you all and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you for being here. And we have with us today Liz. Now, Deacon, you and I were chatting here recently about Liz and how important it is that everybody learns about her and her story, weren't we?
Yes, we were, Melissa.
Now, Liz, I know you told us earlier before we started, but our listeners would love to know how old you are.
97.
You're 97. Mm-hmm. And have you lived here in the diocese the whole time?
In this diocese, yes.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you. What was your family background like growing up here?
The family background was my father and mother met in the choir at Sacred Heart.
In the choir?
In the choir at Sacred Heart.
Okay.
And my father was head of the Knights of Columbus at the time of his death, and he died at 36. And he left 3 babies, myself, my sister, and my brother.
Okay. Were you the oldest? Ooh.
My sister was the oldest.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And the diocese more or less took over and helped my mother greatly.
Really?
To get us educated and to help look after us. And my brother and sister now have passed away. But one of the last things they said to me before they died was, anything that you can do for this diocese, please do it for the 3 of us, not just for yourself. And I try to do what I can. I can't do a lot, but I do whatever I can. And the clergy was very kind to us when we were being brought up with no dad. My mother did not remarry.
So how did the clergy help you? Give me an example. How did they help?
How did they help?
Yeah.
They made sure we were educated. As my sister said to me before she died, if it had not been for this diocese, we'd be standing on a street corner begging like these people where you pull up in your car and give them $1. And I agree with her. The diocese was just, they were just wonderful to us, and they were great to my mother. They did everything they could to help her because she didn't have a job, she didn't have anything except the 3 of us.
Now, how old were you when your father passed away?
I was 2.
2.
Mm-hmm.
And your
my sister was 4.
Yes.
And my brother was 6 months.
Wow. So you really did grow up in this diocese.
Yes.
So
yes.
You've probably seen so many things that someone like myself hasn't even heard of yet.
Well, the one thing that I tell everybody, because I appreciate it and I enjoyed it too, but like I said, my mom and dad met in the choir. I ended up being the soloist in the choir.
Really?
At Sacred Heart for a good many years, and I was a soloist at 10 years old. And I could be sitting in the classroom, the door would open, whatever priest was the pastor, and he'd say, "Is Liv Murphy here today?" And Sister would say, "She's sitting right there, Father." "Lib, come with me. We have to go to Greensboro today. You have to do 2 Latin Masses." And I'd go with him, get in the car, and we'd take off and go for the whole day. They didn't even call her my mother. Just take me. Mm-hmm. And I'd go over and sing the Masses. And I enjoyed that. My friend who is still living, who is also my age, she said, the kids hated you. Because she said, every week you got to spend the day out. You didn't have to go to class. Yeah. Everybody else had to go to class, but Father spoke, come on, you're going with me today. Yeah. And I enjoyed that. And that is what my degree was in.
You're saying that you were in school there. What was cathedral school, right? What was that like?
How big were the classes?
Well, we can get to how big the classes were, but how big was the facility? How big was the church?
Exactly like it is today.
It hasn't changed?
It hasn't changed a bit.
So you played on the same playground that they play on today?
Same thing. Same playground.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Same building for the school?
Yep.
Wow.
I think the principal's office is still in the same place. Right at the toilet. Right next door to the toilet.
Well, let me ask you this. How many kids were there?
I know there was a nun for every class, and we had 12 grades.
Okay.
So we had to have 12 and a principal. So they should have been maybe 13, 14, because we had a cook sister.
Okay.
She did all the cooking and setting up for the nuns. So we had to have about 13 or 14.
Okay, and how many kids in a grade?
How many kids?
Uh-huh.
That would be hard for me to say because I don't know how many were in each grade. I do know that the Protestant population was very high.
Uh-huh.
And they were sent there for discipline.
Really?
Their parents would send them there to be disciplined. And they more or less kept the school open because they paid tuition, which we did not do. But the three of us all finished there.
All three of you?
We all graduated from there. And then about the time that my brother graduated, the place closed down. The girls stopped going in the convent. And that convent was from New York. The nuns would come down in September and stay until June. They would be gone in the summertime. And I don't know whether it has reopened or not, but that convent closed. So we lost our nuns.
Can you say the fish story?
What's that, Father?
Your Protestant friend got a fish and...
Oh, yes. He lived across the street from me. He was a Protestant. He was sent there for discipline by far. And he came... When lunchtime, we would go down to Fayetteville Street and eat lunch for about 35 cents. And
35 cents.
He went down with his 35 cents. He bought a fish, brought it back in a bottle, and
live fish.
Live fish.
The holy water font that is there today is still there. And Rex put the fish in the holy water font. And the thing was swimming around in there. And Sister, we had to report in the morning at 8 o'clock Mass. You were late if you were not for Mass, whether you were Protestant or Catholic. You had to be there. Sister sees that fish swimming around in there. We come over to the classroom and she wants to know who put the fish in the thing. He was very proud of himself. He only had 35 cents to spend and he bought his fish. And he raised his hand, of course, and Sister went after him. Turned him every way but loose. And he said, well, you know, I thought that's what it was for. I thought that was where you put the fish. And he did. That's all he knew. And he got the ruler. But we all laughed about that, and we certainly laughed about it when we got older.
Sure.
And I think Rex finished there. I think he stayed to the end.
Oh, now I'm really curious. Was he able to take the fish home?
I don't know whether the sister gave him the fish back or not.
So sister took home.
Sister took it home.
Maybe his mother came and got it.
That is too funny. That is too funny. What a great story.
Yeah.
Okay, for all you kids listening, you cannot do that in the holy water font. Just so you know.
It's the same one it's the same holy water font that was there. It's still there. That one that what is that? What I don't know what it's made of.
Marble?
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 Marble. Yeah, there are two marble ones sitting there. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that there was, at the cathedral school, there were Protestants and Catholics there.
Yes.
Okay. So, were there a lot of Catholics back then in general?
A lot of Catholics.
Yes.
Not a whole lot.
No.
There were not a whole lot. This Bible Belt through here, and we had a lot of Protestant students. All of the Protestant students paid to go there. If you were a Catholic student, you could not afford it. You could go there, and Bishop McGinnis went out to all the neighboring parishes that he could all over the United States, wherever he knew a bishop, and drew in scholarships for students. He happened to go to upstate New York, Rochester, where I ended up, and the bishop there was looking for a soloist to sing for his gatherings. He didn't have one at Nazareth, and he was the bishop in Rochester. He was the bishop of Rochester. He asked Bishop McGinnis if he could furnish him with a soloist. He would give the soloist a 4-year scholarship, and that was me.
That was you.
So
now, was Bishop McGinnis the one that you went to singing for Mass, or was that was a priest?
Was Bishop McGinnis what?
Was he there at Cathedral School at the time, or no?
He was our bishop.
Our bishop.
Bishop McGinnis was our bishop, and he gave a scholarship to my sister to Chestnut Hill in Philadelphia, and one to my brother in Manhattan in New York City, and we all finished.
What about Helen?
And Helen went to the Lady of Woods. Where is that located? In
Maryland?
Philadelphia.
I don't know.
Our Lady of the Woods. Anyhow, pardon.
Tell us a little bit more about Helen.
All right. You want me to talk about her a little bit?
Yeah, just you introduced her a little bit.
She lived from the from Sacred Heart, the house there on the corner.
Okay, so Helen.
Yes. She lived on Edenton Street.
Okay.
Behind the school, and there were all houses back there then.
Okay.
And Helen had 2 brothers and a sister, and all they had to do was cross the street and come to school. And they're all dead. No, her 2 brothers are living. Her sister is dead, but Helen is still living, and she's living at the moment in Fuquay, Verena. And we started out in kindergarten.
Together?
Mm-hmm, and we're still friends. I go out to see her when I can. She doesn't go anywhere at the moment. She was going to Mass daily, but I don't know, now she doesn't want to go anywhere. So I'll tell her about this because she'll be very interested.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
She would. In fact, it would have been nice if I should have brought her and she could have sat and listened to it. She probably could have come up with more than I did.
Well, I remember seeing Helen at church regularly, and she also took care of the linens in the sacristy. So she was a valuable member of our congregation.
Well, she did the linens for 20 years. By herself, she'd take the linens home and do them, bring them back.
Okay, so you're saying that Helen lived on Edenton Street and there were houses then.
Pardon?
You were saying that the city looked different way back when. Now, when I drive into the city of Raleigh, I mean, there's big buildings and there's no houses to be found.
No.
So how big was the city when you were in, elementary school? How big was that city? Any other buildings besides the church?
Well, all that Methodist church behind there was not there at that time. And they were all little houses. And her parents and her siblings were in one of those houses. And she went off to the scholarship that Bishop McGinnis gave her. Mm-hmm. And she did 4 years. And then, this is very sad, and to this day she still is very sad about it. She came back to do her 5th year, and her mother was having a lot of family problems, and she couldn't finish. That's really tragic. Even today she worries about it, that she never finished. But we don't have anything like that now, but Bishop McGinnis spent most of his time going all over the country pulling those scholarships in. And that was such a beautiful thing to do, because none of the kids there could afford college. None of us could, and particularly the 3 of us, because we didn't have any dad.
Well, what did your dad do before he passed away?
My dad worked for the gas company. I couldn't think of it. He was the head of it, right down there off of Kinsey Street.
Got it.
And he developed cancer, and they couldn't do much for it then. They didn't know what to do for it.
Sure.
And he died very, very quickly. My brother died of the same cancer. Mm. Very same cancer.
Well, it seems to me that the bishop and the diocese really took into the widows and orphans, making sure everybody was taken care of, like we all should, right? What a wonderful example of that.
Exactly. And this was during the Great Depression, too, so there wasn't a lot of money out there. A lot of people were hurting very badly. So can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in the Great Depression?
After the World War II.
No, before World War II.
Yeah.
World War II. It was hard to find food.
Yeah.
And finding a piece of red meat was just a treasure. And my mother would go down to that old marketplace, which is still there. She'd go down there and she'd get a piece of red meat. Once in a while, she'd find a nice piece, and she'd bring it home and make a big pot of stew with all the vegetables and everything. And she'd call the rectory, and whoever the pastor was, she'd say, "Bring the priest, come over. I got a big pot of stew. I will make some biscuit." And they'd all come. And of course, she read the riot act to us about behaving.
Like every good mom should.
Mm-hmm,
right?
As every mom could.
Yeah.
And we'd all sit around the old dining room table, and everybody would eat stew. And that was your dinner for the... And it was a real pleasure, because you didn't get meat very often. And I do remember that very well. And I think the priests enjoyed it too, because they got a home meal, And I think we did so well with this diocese. This diocese was so helpful. And they never let my mother want for anything. If she would call and say, I need this or I need that, they'd find some way to get it for her. And my sister and brother and we all realized that when we got old, that the diocese had helped pull us through. And that doesn't happen everywhere.
No, it does not. You were very, very blessed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've talked to other people, and they've said the same thing you did, that we were blessed to have this diocese. Every bishop that came in was equally as helpful. Up in Rochester, that was Bishop James Carney, is the one that gave me my scholarship. And there again, there'd be a function going on. He sent his car for me. And the car would come to the dormitory to pick me up, and the girls would have a fit because I didn't get to study that night. I'd have to go sing somewhere, and that was funny because you wouldn't do that today.
No.
But I certainly did a lot of it.
Can you say something about the Nazareth boarding where you used to go and attend the Mass?
The what, Father?
The Nazareth boarding, the present cathedral campus where you used to go for Mass from your house. Orphanage.
The orphanage?
Oh, the college. You're talking about the orphanage. Yes, that was way back when I was a kid. And I had 3 cousins in there.
Okay.
And for the life of me, I never could figure out why, with this big Italian family that we had, someone couldn't take those children, but no one did. And that meant, and us too. And we used to go out and visit my cousins in the orphanage. And that was the Sisters of Mercy at that time.
Yes, Sisters of Mercy, and that is the connection with Father Price, because Father Price is actual
Father
wife's
Price.
sister was a nun with the Sisters of Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were from Belmont, if I'm not mistaken.
And those 3 cousins, they got a good education there. Yeah. I was happy for that. They're still living. Those 3 cousins are still living. But we used to go out there real often. We'd just go out there and go on the playground and play ball or something. And
you mentioned earlier before we got to talking that the bishops would come out and play at the cathedral school with you. Would the bishops come out and play on the playground and stuff like that?
Yeah, he used to come out and play on the playground with the kids. I said there was nothing to look up, and the bishop was on the playground. One of them, any of them.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I don't see any of them doing it now, but they used to do it. And to come out and talk, and they come out and talk to the kids.
Sure.
But the priests were always out there. And they were always checking on the kids, because that was a dangerous spot to be, right up on that corner where all that traffic was.
Absolutely.
But it's the same playground.
Same playground and everything.
Hadn't changed at all.
Well, some things are great. If they're great, why fix it? Why change it, right? I'm just going to take a quick break and welcome all of our listeners who are just tuning in. You're listening to a special episode of Catholic Cornerstone. And our guests today in studio are Ms. Liz Murphy and Father Alapati, and my co-host here, Deacon Brian. And we're asking Liz, who's 97, who's lived here in the diocese for most of her life, all of her life, right? Except for when you went to college. And she's telling us of what things were like way back when, and how some things have changed, but some haven't. So, and learning not to put fish in the holy water founts. So, I'm never forget that. Every time I'm going to go into a church now, I'm going to see that holy water font and think, was there a fish in there today?
Look for the fish every time you go in.
I'm going to think of you every time I look for the fish. So let's go into just talking with you for the first part of this episode. I would assume that the church and the priests and the nuns were a big part of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And it had to have a profound effect on who you are now. Father Alapati mentioned that you still go to daily mass.
Yes.
At 97, sometimes twice a day, depending on where you are. Was it because of your growing up in that area, or having it every day, that you're still doing it 97 years later?
Well, I think the main, and I've said this to Father before, because we had to do it at Sacred Heart. The nuns made us, like I had mentioned before, that was where attendance was taken. And the nun would come through with the clipboard and count heads right in the church. If you were not there, you were tardy. And we all got in the habit of going to Mass.
A discipline. Like a...
Yeah. When you get in that habit, it's a habit you can't break. I can't. I feel bad all day if I don't get to Mass. Sometimes Father will say, you can't get to Mass tomorrow morning, but we'll do it in the evening. And it's not the same. I like to go first thing in the morning.
Well, because you've learned it from birth. I mean, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a lesson to all of us parents that, hey, if we just instill getting to Mass in our children and our families at an early age,
yes,
the faith will stay with you. That's wonderful. Now, did you have a lot of... You mentioned that your mom would say, hey, I made stew to the priests. Did you have a lot of priests come and visit the house, or did you do visits?
We sure had them come to eat stew.
I would assume so. I have 4 boys myself. I know how that works. Stew's on the table,
yeah.
The house is full. I get that.
Yeah.
But do you have any stories or anything like that of when you had those visits?
I know. I do know that... after my dad died, and I don't know what bishop that was. It would have been
Hafey.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah. He came to the house frequently. As a matter of fact, we have a chair that we still call it the bishop's chair. He sat in that chair every time he came over there. And we still have, someone in the family has it. I don't have it. But I remember his coming to the house frequently. Sure. To see if Mom, and we lived with my aunt. She was there also. My aunt worked, and my mother stayed home. That's how we managed. And I do remember the priests who were there coming by to visit, just dropping by to visit in between these dinners that Mom would have, and to see if you need anything, or if they could help you in any way. And I'm not just making it up by saying this diocese was great. The diocese was great. And my brother and sister and I all agree on that they stepped right up and helped her. But my dad was head of Knights of Columbus when he died, and the Knights of Columbus helped an awful lot. They were always there to see if they could do something. And that we were brought up with no male figure in the house. And I think my brother did very well not having a dad. Mm-hmm.
But if you had a lot of people coming in and sort of stepping into that role and helping your mom out,
yeah,
I can see where that makes a huge difference. Huge difference. My brother was a very, very nice man, and he had a big family, and he looked after his family well. Now, did you ever marry and have children, or
no? Thank God.
But you just mentioned your brother had a big family. Did your sister as well?
Pardon?
Your brother and sister both had big families?
Yes, they had the families.
So you were the fun aunt? Is that how it is?
I was the odd duck. Like I said, that God is a lucky guy that I didn't get. I think you get to the place that you do everything for yourself, and you get independent. And it's not good. It really isn't that good. But I've always had to work, so you become completely independent.
Sure. Now, what was your profession?
Well, when I graduated from college, about 6 or 7 of us went to New York City and got a couple of apartments and walked the streets looking for work. Women were not in high esteem at that time. It was in the 40s, and they didn't like hiring them. They didn't like dealing with them. And I finally got a job at National Broadcasting, and in the copy room, which was, you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And from there, I moved from agency to agency. The agency that I ended up with was Housing and Urban Development, and where we were placing families that needed help. And that was just another story that I went, here goes with Mass again.
Okay.
I went still going to Mass in the morning. I had a 6 o'clock Mass every morning, and the church was right across the street from HUD.
Really?
So as God would have it, every place I had a job, there was always a Catholic church right there. So for 1 year or more, I sat in the pew with a man, and we would say good morning. That was it. And where I was working at HUD, they would, every year, they would promote the men, but they wouldn't promote me because I was a woman. And I asked this jerk that I was working for, why don't you promote me? He said, you're not head of a household. You don't have to buy shoes and clothes and stuff for children. You don't have to buy food. But I was supporting my mother back here in Raleigh. She didn't have a dime. Half of my salary went to my mother. But that didn't impress him at all. Right now, you'd go to court if someone said that to you.
Absolutely. But
he said it and got away with it. So anyhow, I had been sitting with this man at Mass, and we were coming across the street, and he said, good morning, where do you work? I said, I work at HUD. He said, what department are you in? And I told him. I said, where do you work? He said, I work at HUD. I said, what department do you work in? He said, I'm head of HUD. I said, Mr. Martin? And he said, yes, I'm head of HUD. Are you having a problem? I said, am I? And he said, tell me what your problem is. So I told him. He said, he had no right to say that to you. And even back then, that was in the 40s. And he said, where are your papers? I said, my papers are in personnel. He said, by 4 o'clock this afternoon, you will be promoted. 4 o'clock, right on the nose, the phone rang. Here he was. This is Mr. Martin. You have just been promoted. In the future, when you're ready for promotion, you come to me. You don't go to your boss. And that took off.
Wow.
That took off. That is important in retirement. people don't realize how important that is to your retirement salary.
Sure.
And that man, he promoted me every time. He didn't ask any questions. He just got the papers together and promoted me. And I think that is a story of it's not what you know, it's who you know.
And who you know in the pew next to you, right there in the pew with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the greatest things that you have shared with us is going for daily mass, you see the blessings in your life.
Yeah, there
Yes.
again. There again. And I sat there with that man for over a year, and I didn't know who he was. So I think everybody enjoys that story because it tells you something right there.
Right.
And I went every place that I worked. I'm just trying to think, but every place that I worked, there was a church close by. That's the Lord at work.
Oh, God has built one for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He said, the church is there, go to church.
That is phenomenal.
But I appreciate the fact that you wanted me to tell you my story, which is not much of a story, but it's a little bit. But maybe it'll help somebody else.
Well, Liz, we just, as a diocese, celebrated our 100th anniversary as being a diocese. Now, you lived 97 of those years, and under all 6 of our bishops. So that's quite an accomplishment right there. Can you tell us a little bit about having all 6 of the bishops? Because not many people have done that.
Well, that's Father said that to me when I first knew him. He said, "You've been here for how many bishops then was 5, 6? 6 and
Can I ask your favorite or no? Who was your favorite bishop?
Would you say?
Who was your favorite?
Well, my favorite one was Bishop McGinnis, who gave me the scholarship.
I figured that would probably be your answer.
He had to be my favorite.
We're not going to tell our present bishop.
Yeah.
He may be listening, though.
Yeah, maybe he's got one ear open. And maybe he's saying to me, shut up and go home.
Or he might make a call to you and visit with you.
Pardon?
No, he might start giving scholarships to students.
Yeah, he might start. Or go play with them on the playground. You never know.
Well, he was very chatty.
Yeah.
He was one man you could stop in any place on the campus and talk to him.
Yeah.
So maybe he's not displeased.
So so you had your career, and then I'm assuming you retired, and you do a lot of things. Are you still very active now?
Well, as active as I can be. I have my own home. Okay. And we got a program.
Mm-hmm. So do you go and do you have any ministries? Do you bring the Eucharist to anybody, or is there things that you do?
Well, I did Eucharistic ministry for a long time.
So I was there in the hospital WakeMed, and I met Liz Murphy in 2011, June, probably second week of June. And Helen introduced me to her, not in both of our presence, but she said there is an Indian priest here who says Mass and you have to see his Mass. That's how she talked to me first. And then I think the following day we had our lunch at Golden Corral.
Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Dirty Golden Corral. I hate that.
You can say things at 97, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, at 97 you can tell anything. We can't say that.
That's right.
And then I don't think first 2 years she came to the hospital.
Okay.
We used to meet on and off because I was at downtown Cathedral Rectory.
Sure.
And I used to meet her.
Didn't we go to Washington to a couple of things up there?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then when I started doing my residency at the hospital as a chaplain,
Sure.
so it was a hard work. Some days 24 hours continuous work.
Yeah.
So she used to come and help to set up for the Mass.
So you were the sacristan.
She was the sacristan.
Yeah.
And then she used to also give communion to the patients whenever the other Eucharistic ministers were absent.
Wow.
And she continued that for almost 8 long years.
Wow. 8 years.
8 years. And even with a cane, she used to go to the rooms and give.
Wow.
And she enjoyed coming and seeing Father Steve Smith, who was there for a long time in the diocese after his retirement. And she used to come and do all that work. And every day she was doing 2 masses, one at St. Michael's at 8:30, and from there straight she will come to Wakemed for 11:30 mass.
Wow.
She will come half an hour before, and then the Protestants chaplains used to come and complain to me, when she is sitting there, we cannot pray. But she was a great source of inspiration, and I admire even today for the masses that she attends.
Uh-huh. And are you guys just friends?
No, I mean, that's what Liz tells me, you are my friend, but I say you are my mom.
Yeah.
My friends, I don't care that much, but whereas you are really a mother.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things I could share with all of you is my biological mother, now she's dead, but when she was alive, she used to always ask me daily when I spoke to her, how is your mother? And of course, they both never spoke with each other, but they used to just look at each other and say, just wave hands at each other.
Sure.
Because of the language problem.
There's something about adopting a mother or a grandmother, from someone that you just make a connection with. And I've done that in my own life. So it's inspiring to see the connection that you guys have worked together for so long, and how I was really moved when you called her mother before it started. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive. So, Brian, do you have any more questions?
I think we heard a lot about Liz's life, and very interesting, very fascinating, and just it's been a long and productive and faithful life. Well done, good and faithful servant.
Yes, well done. Do you have any words of wisdom for our listeners, Liz?
I won't tell you. I was coming out of church about last week, I guess it was. I was telling Father, and there were 2 or 3 gentlemen standing on the steps, and he said, can we ask you a question? I said, sure. He said, what do you attribute that you did right to get to this age? And I said, I drink a lot of milk. And all these men went, ugh. If I'd have said martinis, they would have said, oh, that's swell.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sum it up as drinking a lot of milk and going to daily mass.
Daily mass.
And having the discipline of making sure that happens every day, and putting Jesus first, God and Jesus first. I think that's the way to end it. Wouldn't you agree? This is being recorded during Lent, but what an awesome example you've set for the rest of us to try to attain that same thing, right? I love how you interweaved the fact that every job you had a church right there. I look back at my own life and I look at my current life, and I can't. That doesn't happen.
No.
So I'm in awe.
I've thought about that a lot. Every job I had a church right there, so there was a reason for that.
You can really tell that God's hand has really blessed you and your family, and you've been a great example. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, I'm sure.
Father, well, as we're wrapping up here, could you give a blessing to our listeners?
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this inspirational talk with Liz. And may your Holy Spirit inspire everyone to find out the healthy ways of life, being very close to God and especially meeting Him at the altar. And may everyone walk towards your altar, and may they draw strength from there in order to make their daily lives a fruitful and successful ones, and be able to share that love that they receive there in Jesus, may be able to share with their neighbors and spread the message of love to everyone, and in particular in our diocese here. We make our prayer through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Father, for being here. Thank you for coming to the studio today. It's been our pleasure getting to know you and your life better. We appreciate you sharing your experiences with us. Deacon Brian, thanks for being my co-host today. You've been wonderful. You can listen to past shows at Catholic540.org/local programs, or by downloading our Divine Mercy Radio North NC app in your app store. Thank you to the Divine Mercy Radio production team. Please keep Divine Mercy Radio in your prayers. St. Colby and Archangel Gabriel, pray for us. I'm your host, Melissa Savage. Thanks for joining us, and have a blessed day.